My husband took all 6 members of his family to Malaysia for New Year, but left me home because the airfare was too expensive. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law even said the house needed someone to stay behind and watch it. The second they left, I listed the house for sale with an agent. When they came back from vacation, they found out they no longer had a home. My husband started calling me like crazy. I sent back one line: "Let's get divorced. Since you love being one big happy family, you can all go be homeless together." While packing, Lu Chengyu told me, "Same as always this year. Flights are too expensive, you'd be bored going alone anyway, and somebody needs to stay home and keep an eye on the place." My mother-in-law, Li Yinglin, jumped right in. "Yeah, sis, we'll be back before you know it." My sister-in-law, Lu Nianan, smiled like she was completely innocent. I stopped wiping the table and looked at Lu Chengyu, then at his parents behind him and his sister's family of 3. All 6 of them were together, ready to spend New Year in Malaysia. This was the 3rd year the 6 of them had gone away for the holidays. For 3 straight years, they'd fed me the exact same lines, word for word. The first year they treated me like this, I cried. The second year I had a huge fight with them. This was year 3. I smiled and gave them one word: "Okay." Lu Chengyu froze for a second. He clearly hadn't expected me to be this calm. "Take care of yourself at home. Call if anything comes up." I quietly answered, "Mm-hmm." Then he asked, "Do you have enough money?" "Enough." My voice stayed flat. "All right, we're leaving then." He grabbed his suitcase and the whole family filed out. The security door slammed shut and the world went quiet. I stood there for a long time, then took out my phone and found a number in my contacts. "Brother Lee, it's Ye Qinghe." It was noisy on his end. "Hey, Qinghe, finally made up your mind?" I said quietly, "I have. Sell the house." "Got it. I'll bring buyers over right away. I'll get you the best price I can." I walked to the window and watched the 7-seat van heading for the airport slowly pull away. "Brother Lee, I want this done fast. I'll take 10% below market price." The line went silent. "Qinghe, are you sure? That's a lot of money to leave on the table." "I'm sure. Sell it now. The faster, the better." I hung up, tossed my phone onto the couch, went into the bedroom, opened the closet, and pulled out my suitcase. It was the red suitcase I'd brought with me when I married Lu Chengyu 3 years ago. Now it was leaving with me too. I didn't want this home anymore. I didn't want this so-called husband either. They loved being one perfectly complete family, so I decided to make that happen for them. I folded my clothes one by one and put them into the suitcase, moving slowly like I was saying goodbye to 3 years of my own foolishness. I didn't own much. One suitcase was enough. Finally, from the back of my nightstand, I pulled out the red property deed. My name was the only one on it. It was the one piece of security my parents had left me. I slipped it into an inside pocket, zipped my suitcase, stood up, and took one last look around the room. I'd picked the curtains and the sheets. Our wedding photo was still hanging on the wall. Lu Chengyu looked gentle in it, and I looked blissfully happy. What a joke. I took the photo down and smashed it on the floor. The glass shattered with a crisp crack, the sweetest sound this house had made in 3 years. I wheeled my suitcase out of the bedroom without looking back. Then my phone rang. It was Brother Lee. "Qinghe, I'm at your complex. I brought 2 serious buyers, both ready to pay cash." "Come up." The door was unlocked. Brother Lee came upstairs with 2 men. "Qinghe, let me introduce you. Both of these gentlemen are interested in the house. Mr. Chen, Mr. Lin." Brother Lee was enthusiastic. I nodded and said, "Take a look around." Mr. Chen walked through the apartment. "Nice renovation, great location too." Then he glanced at the broken glass on the floor. "Just have a fight?" I answered calmly. "No, a divorce." Mr. Chen and Brother Lee both paused. The younger buyer, Mr. Lin, smiled instead. "I like someone who gets straight to the point. Makes business easier." He barely looked around before walking straight up to me. "I'll take the price Brother Lee quoted, 10% below market, cash. We can sign today." Brother Lee quickly said, "Mr. Lin, Mr. Chen hasn't even..." Mr. Chen waved him off. "I'll stay out of you young people's business." Then he turned and left. Brother Lee looked at me. "Qinghe, are we doing this?" I remembered our first fight in this house 3 years earlier. My mother-in-law insisted her bedroom had to face south, and the master bedroom happened to face south, so Lu Chengyu told me to give it up. He said, "Ye Qinghe, she's my mother. Just call it respecting your elders." I refused. "This is my marital home. My parents bought it." For the first time, Lu Chengyu's face went cold. "Why can't you be more reasonable?" In the end, I gave in. We moved into the smaller north-facing bedroom. I thought compromise would bring peace, but it only taught them to demand more. They treated me like an accessory in my own home, something disposable. Now, I was fixing all of it. "Deal. Let's go to your office and sign right now." I said it to Mr. Lin. His eyes lit up. "All right, Qinghe, I'm buying the place." Brother Lee finally caught up and grinned. Great. Let's get it done right now." Everything went unbelievably smoothly. By 4 that afternoon, we were in the agency's contract room. Mr. Lin brought his lawyer, and I called my best friend, Qin Sharan, who's also a lawyer. When she got my call, she thought I'd lost my mind. "Ye Qinghe, are you really sure about this?" I've never been more clear-headed in my life.
Chin Sharan stared at me for a long time.
Finally, she sighed. All right, I'm with you. A man like that isn't worth it. Sharan went through the contract clause by clause. Mr. Lin's lawyer was sharp too, and both sides quickly agreed on the details. The sale price was 3.6 million yuan. Mr. Lin would pay a 50% deposit, 1.8 million, then transfer the rest as soon as the title changed hands. Since the apartment was my premarital property, and only my name was on the deed, the process was simple. Lu Chengyu didn't need to sign anything. Once I signed and fingerprinted the contract, Mr. Lin had his finance team wire the money on the spot. My phone buzzed with a bank alert, 1.8 million yuan deposited. I stared at the number and felt absolutely nothing. Beside me, Chin Sharan grabbed my arm, practically shaking with excitement. Jingge, you did it. I just smiled at her. Mr. Lin stood and held out his hand. Pleasure doing business. Ms. Yeah, pleasure doing business. I shook his hand. Then he asked, can I take possession of the apartment now? Of course, here are the keys. I set the whole keyring on the table. Lu Chengyu's spare, my mother-in-law's, Lu Nianan's, everyone's keys were on it. None of them belonged to me anymore. Mr. Lin picked them up. Then I won't stand on ceremony. I'll head over and change the locks now. He left with his lawyer. Brother Li got his commission too. He was grinning from ear to ear. Only Sharan and I were left in the contract room. She wrapped me in a gentle hug. It's over, Qinghe. No, it's just beginning. I still had one last thing to do, get divorced. I pulled out my phone. I opened Lu Chengyu's WeChat. They were probably almost in Malaysia by now. I typed a message, thought about it, then deleted it. No rush. I wanted to wait until he came back. I wanted to see his face when he stood outside a home that was no longer his. I wanted him to know what having nothing felt like. Sharan asked, what are you going to do now? Rent somewhere for a while. I nodded, yeah. I'll help you look. No, I'll do it myself. From now on, I was making my own decisions. I booked a hotel for the moment and started apartment hunting online. I wanted something small, a one-bedroom near my office. I still had a career, and my life wasn't going to stop because of one man. That night, Lu Chengyu sent me a photo on WeChat. Blue skies and white clouds in Malaysia. The caption read, honey, we made it. Everything's great. So he still remembered he had a wife. I looked at the photo. Lu Nianan flashing a peace sign in one corner, my mother-in-law in sunglasses beside her. They looked so happy. Good for them. I locked my phone. Enjoy yourselves while you can, because when you come back, there won't be a home waiting. I stayed at the hotel for 3 days. In that time, I found a furnished one-bedroom apartment ready to move into, only 2 blocks from my office. I used part of the house deposit to pay a full year's rent up front. Sharan helped me move, though there wasn't much to move. 1 suitcase and 1.8 million yuan sitting in my bank account. Look at you, you're a little rich girl now. Sharan was joking. Not enough. Once I get the rest of the sale money, I'm buying the small place I found downtown. I want a home that's completely mine, and no one else gets to move in. Sharan looked at me. Jinghe, you've changed. You used to say keeping the family together mattered more than anything. I laughed at myself. Yeah, I used to be an idiot. I kept thinking if I took 1 step back, everyone would have room to breathe. I backed up 100 steps and they still wanted me to jump off a cliff. When Lu Chengyu and I first married 3 years ago, he was busy with work, so I quit my job on my own to take care of the family. Back then he told me, honey, you've worked hard. From now on, I'll take care of you. I believed him. I cooked different meals for him every day, treated his parents like my own, and loved his sister like she was mine. I thought I'd become part of their family. In their eyes, I was always an outsider, a tool to give the Lu family children and take care of their lives. That first New Year, his whole family said they were going to Sanya. I said, great, I'll book the flights and plan the trip. My mother-in-law said, oh, Qinghe, you don't need to come. We have so many plants at home. Who'll look after them? Lu Chengyu added, yeah, honey, flights are expensive too. Think of it as saving us some money. That was the first New Year they left me behind. I sat alone in the empty apartment, watched the fireworks outside, and cried all night. The second year, they went to Japan. Same excuse, I had to stay home and watch the house. That time, Lu Chengyu and I had a huge fight. He pointed in my face and yelled, Ye Qinghe, can you act like an adult for once? My mother's health is bad. Do you know how hard it is for her to travel? Can't you just let her enjoy herself? We're family. Why do you have to divide everything up? You're really disappointing me. That was the first time I saw how ugly his face could get. The gentleman in our wedding photo had been fake. It was all an act. Little by little, my heart went cold. This year, they were going even farther, to Malaysia. They announced it at the family dinner table. Lu Nianan practically bounced with excitement. She'd found discount tickets. Bro, Mom, we're spending New Year in Malaysia. Everyone cheered. Not one person asked what I thought. It was like I wasn't even there. I put down my chopsticks and looked at Lu Chengyu. He avoided my eyes. In that moment, I was completely done. I didn't want to fight anymore. There was no point. I only wanted to leave and cut things off for good. What are you thinking about? Sharan's voice pulled me back to reality. Nothing, it's all in the past now. I hung the last piece of clothing in my new closet. The apartment was small but cozy. I bought myself flowers and put them in a vase. Warm sunlight spilled through the window. These past few days, Lu Chengyu had messaged me every day. Photos of places in Malaysia, then beaches along the Gold Coast. Every now and then he'd add, "Honey, what are you doing at home?" I replied calmly, "I'm fine." He asked, "Have you eaten?" I replied, "Yeah." He couldn't even be bothered to call because international calls cost money. In his mind, I wasn't worth the price of 1 minute. What a joke. A week later, Mr. Lin called me. "Jinghe, the title transfer is all finished. When are you free so we can settle the balance?" "Anytime." "Then let's meet at the bank tomorrow at 10. Okay. The next day I received the remaining 1.8 million yuan. The full 3.6 million was sitting in my account. The first thing I did was transfer 100,000 yuan to Qin Shuren. "That's your legal fee." Sharan jumped and immediately sent it back. "Are you crazy? Since when do sisters charge each other?" "You have to take it." I transferred it back again. "Sharan, this isn't about the money. It's about drawing a line. I want every messy account from my old life settled, emotional and financial. You helped me, so you deserve to be paid. That's the rule." Sharan was quiet for a few seconds. Then she accepted it. "Fine, I'll listen to you. But Jinghe, I'll keep this money safe for you. If you ever need it, it's yours." I smiled. This was friendship. This was family. Not people who drained you dry while claiming it was for your own good. There was one last thing. I walked into a law firm. "Hi, I'd like to ask about filing for divorce." The lawyer who met with me was very professional. "Ma'am, can you tell me what's been happening?" "My husband has subjected me to years of emotional abuse, and he and his family have repeatedly excluded and isolated me. I have proof that they left me home alone for New Year 3 years in a row. The apartment was my premarital property, and I've already sold it. There's no dispute over that. I want one thing, a divorce as soon as possible." The lawyer nodded. "Your evidence is solid, the facts are clear, and your request is straightforward. We can prepare the filing immediately." "Okay, thank you." I left the law firm and looked up at the bright blue sky. In a few days, Lu Chengyu and his family would be back. I was almost looking forward to his face when he saw the new lock. My new apartment had one key, sitting alone on the entryway tray. No heavy ring labeled for Lu Chengyu, his mother, or Lu Nianan. The lightness I felt was peace. I went back to work. After 3 years away, I was rusty at first, but my brain still worked, my skills were still there, and I quickly found my rhythm again. My department manager called me in for a talk. "Ye Qingke, you've got a 3-year gap on your resume. I was honestly a little worried when I hired you." I nodded and quietly listened. "But your performance this past week has really impressed me. Keep it up." "Thank you, Director." I returned to my desk. A news alert popped up on my computer. Holiday travel rush, airports packed. I checked the date. New Year's Eve was tomorrow. Lu Chengyu and the others would be home soon. My phone buzzed. Lu Chengyu had sent a WeChat photo of Xiao Bao, my sister-in-law's son, riding a kangaroo toy and grinning. Lu Chengyu wrote, "Xiao Bao keeps talking about his auntie every day." I stared at the message. The irony was almost funny. Last year, Xiao Bao threw the new backpack I bought him on the floor and stomped on it because Lu Nianan called it cheap and tacky. She told me, "Don't mind him, he's just a kid." I believed her. Looking back, the child understood everything. I was the clueless one. I replied to Lu Chengyu with one word, He quickly sent another message. "Honey, did you do the big New Year cleaning? The house should be spotless for the holiday." I stared at it and could practically see him soaking up the Malaysian sunshine while casually ordering me around. I replied, "Done." Apparently satisfied, he wrote, "Thanks, honey. We'll bring you a gift." I didn't need a gift. Them leaving was the best gift they'd ever given me. I closed the chat and focused on work. Afterward, I went to a mall and bought myself an expensive camel-colored coat from a brand I'd never splurged on before, plus new skincare. In the mirror, I looked pale, but my eyes looked alive again. That night, I slept straight through without a dream. The next day was New Year's Eve, and the company let us off half a day early. That afternoon, Sharan suddenly called. "Qinghe, spending tonight alone? Come to my place. My parents have been asking about you." "No, Sharan, I want to be by myself tonight." Qin Sharan paused. "All right, take care of yourself. Call me anytime if you need anything." After we hung up, I went to the supermarket and bought all my favorite foods. I cooked myself a proper New Year's Eve dinner, 4 dishes and a soup, opened a bottle of red wine, and poured a glass. The New Year gala was playing on TV, loud and festive, but I felt peaceful. This kind of quiet made me feel safe. At 10 that night, my phone rang with a video call from Lu Chengyu. I hesitated, then answered. His entire family appeared on screen, sitting in a brightly lit upscale restaurant. "Ye Xinghe, Happy New Year!" Lu Nianan waved into the camera. "Sis, look at the giant lobster we're eating!" My mother-in-law leaned in too. Ching-hye, you're home alone, but don't just throw together some sad little dinner, okay? Lu Cheng-yu looked into the phone. Honey, Happy New Year. We'll be home tomorrow. Every face on the screen was glowing with happiness. They expected me to be jealous and force a smile like every other year, saying, as long as you're having fun. I looked at them and smiled too. I said, Happy New Year. Then I turned the camera toward my own table, 4 dishes, soup, and a glass of red wine catching the light. I said, my New Year's Eve dinner is pretty great too. Every smile on the other end froze, especially Lee England's. She probably hadn't expected me to enjoy myself alone. Before anyone could respond, I said, all right, enjoy your night. I ended the call, put my phone on silent, and the world became peaceful again. I knew it was the last calm before the storm. Lu Cheng-yu's return flight was due to land at 10 the next morning. With airport traffic, it would take over an hour to reach home, so they should arrive before noon. I got up at 7 as usual, made myself a simple breakfast, got dressed, and went to the office. It was the first day of the new year, so the company was closed, but I'd asked my director for permission to work overtime. I needed a quiet place to handle a few things, and a perfect alibi. In the empty office, I opened my laptop and worked through the backlog. Minute after minute passed, but my phone stayed strangely quiet. Maybe the flight was delayed, maybe they were collecting luggage. I didn't dwell on it and kept working. At 11:30, my phone finally started buzzing. The first call was from Lu Cheng-yu. I watched his name flash on the screen and didn't answer. I let it ring until it stopped. Then came a second call. Then a third. He was persistent. The fourth call never came. A WeChat message arrived instead. Honey, why aren't you answering? We're home downstairs. Did you deadbolt the door? Why won't our keys work? I read the message and pictured him downstairs, shoving his now useless key into a brand new lock over and over. I didn't reply. Then the calls started coming nonstop, not just from Lu Cheng-yu. My mother-in-law called. Lu Nianen called. They took turns blowing up my phone. I flipped it face down on the desk. Out of sight, out of mind. But WeChat alerts kept popping up on my computer. Yeah, Kinke, where the hell are you? Get downstairs and open this door right now. Sis, what is this supposed to mean? You locked us out? Yakingi, what game are you playing? Answer me. Their patience was vanishing fast, their confusion turning into rage. I signed out of WeChat on my computer, stood up, and made myself coffee in the break room. It smelled wonderful. I stood by the window with the cup. The street below was empty. It was a quiet new year. My new year. At noon, the barrage stopped for a while. I guess they'd called a locksmith or started asking neighbors where I was. Sure enough, WeChat went off again. Lu Cheng-yu sent a photo of a locksmith in uniform standing outside the apartment door, shaking his head. Lu Cheng-yu wrote furiously, the locksmith says someone installed the highest security lock cylinder and he can't open it. Ye Ching-hye, what are you trying to pull? A little later, he sent a voice message. I could hear my mother-in-law shrieking and Lu Nianen complaining in the background. Lu Cheng-yu forced down his anger and said, Ye Ching-hye, this is your last chance. Get here now and open this door, or don't blame me for what happens next. Don't blame me for what happens next. I laughed. Hadn't I been living with consequences for 3 years already? I said nothing, finished my coffee, then unlocked my phone and opened WeChat. I found Mr. Lin, the man who'd bought the apartment, and messaged him. Happy New Year, Mr. Lin. Sorry to bother you. Have you been to the apartment I sold you today? He replied almost instantly. Happy New Year, Ching-hye. I haven't. 2 friends of mine are staying there to keep an eye on the place. Why? Something happen? I wrote, the people banging on the door are my soon-to-be ex-husband and his family. Please have your friends handle it. If they refuse to leave, they can call the police. Seriously, they've got some nerve. Don't worry, Ching-hye, I'll handle it. I replied, thank you. Then I put down my phone. The real show was about to begin. They weren't dealing with the woman who quietly took everything anymore. They were dealing with people they couldn't push around. About 20 minutes later, Lu Cheng-yu called again. This time, I answered. The second the line connected, his barely contained rage exploded. Ye Ching-hye, have you lost your mind? Who did you rent our house to? I said nothing. Then a rough male voice came through the phone. Who's your wife? This is my buddy's place. Leave now or you're going to regret staying here. Then my mother-in-law screamed, Help! They're threatening us! Is there no law anymore? The man snapped back, Then call the police, now get off the property. I heard shouting and a burst of chaos. The call disconnected. I figured they'd finally been escorted out. Sure enough, a few minutes later, Lu Cheng-yu sent another voice message. His voice was shaking under the sound of wind and heavy breathing. Ye Ching-hye, where are you? Who did you rent the place to? Who are those people? They kicked us out and all our luggage is still in the hallway. For the first time, there was fear in his voice. Maybe he thought I'd hired some dangerous thugs. I waited until he calmed down just a little, but not completely, then slowly started typing, one character at a time, picturing him standing in the freezing wind outside the complex. 6 or 7 huge suitcases around him, his miserable family beside him, waiting desperately for my reply. I finished the message, checked it once, and hit send. The house wasn't rented, I sold it, and we're done too. My lawyer will send you the divorce papers. Happy New Year. Since you love being one big happy family, enjoy being homeless together. The message went through. I held down Lu Chungyu's profile and deleted him, then deleted my mother-in-law, Lu Nianan, and everyone connected to that family. One by one, I cleared them all out. When I was done, I tossed my phone onto the desk and let out a long breath. It felt like I'd finally taken a slab of stone off my back after carrying it for 3 years. Sunlight streamed through the blinds and scattered across the desk. The world had never looked so bright. I knew it wasn't over. They'd find a way to track me down, show up at my office, or go to my parents' place, but I'd prepared for all of it. I texted Sharan. It started. She replied, "Got it. Whatever they throw at us, we'll handle it. I've got you." I warned the front desk to say I was away on business if anyone came looking. Then I called my parents and told them I was divorcing and had sold the house. Dad was quiet for a long time, then said, "Come home, sweetheart. Our door is always open." My tears finally fell. I wiped them away and knew my life was truly starting over. As for Lu Chungyu and his family, how long they'd stand outside that apartment, what they'd do with that mountain of luggage, or where they'd sleep that night, I didn't know, and I didn't care. Their story had nothing to do with me anymore. Mine was finally turning to a new page. Lu Chungyu stood on the asphalt outside the complex, gripping his phone. The wind stung his face. He read the message again and again. He refused to believe it. This couldn't be real. How dare Ye Qinghe do this? My wife was always obedient, always quiet, too timid to even raise her voice. How could she do something like this? She's lost it. She has to have lost it. Chungyu, well, what did that crazy woman say? His mother rushed over and snatched the phone. The instant she read the screen, her face turned white as paper. Sis sold it. She sold our house? Her voice was sharp enough to cut glass. Mom, keep your voice down. Lu Chungyu yanked the phone back, eyes bloodshot. Neighbors were already watching. For 3 New Years, his family had left Ye Qinghe home while they traveled, and everyone knew it. Now they were the ones stranded outside, humiliated in front of the whole complex. Bro, what are we supposed to do now? His sister was panicking too. She clutched her suitcase with a miserable expression. Where are we sleeping tonight? Xiaobao's freezing out here. His father, Lu Jiangguo, who had been silent the whole time, finally spoke in a low voice. Stop arguing. Let's find somewhere to stay first. Stay where? A hotel? Li Yinglan shrieked. Do you know how expensive hotels are during New Year? We spent all our money in Malaysia. You useless old man, all you do is talk. Lu Jiangguo's face went dark red, but he said nothing more. He'd never had much say in this family. Lu Chungyu took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. He called me again and again, but every time he heard the same message saying the line was busy. He knew I'd blocked him. He tried from his mother's phone, then his sister's. Same result. Panic and fury tightened around his chest. He really couldn't reach me anymore. The woman he'd assumed would always wait for him was gone. Let's go home, Lu Chungyu said through clenched teeth. What home? Didn't she sell her house? Lu Nianan asked without thinking. My parents' place, Lu Chungyu shouted. Only after he said it did he remember that his parents' old apartment had just 2 bedrooms. There was no way it could fit all of them. But they had no other choice. They awkwardly hailed 2 taxis and wrestled 7 or 8 huge suitcases inside. Before getting in, Lu Chungyu looked back one last time at the building he'd called home for 3 years. The windows were dark, just like his life felt in that moment. He couldn't tell where it had gone wrong, leaving her behind on the first Sanya trip, calling her unreasonable last year, or ignoring her when they announced Malaysia this year. He only remembered that Ye Qinghe always gave in. He thought she would again. He'd even bought perfume to smooth things over. Now it felt ridiculous. Li Yinglan complained the entire taxi ride about me, the agent, the new owner, until she finally turned on her own son. This is all because you're useless. You couldn't even keep your own wife under control, and now we don't even have a home. Lu Chungyu closed his eyes and said nothing. One thought consumed him. Find Ye Qinghe. He could go to her office or her parents and pressure her into coming back, apologizing and returning the money. Yes, that had to work. The idea calmed him. He didn't realize that thinking this way meant he had already lost. I stayed at the office until 4 that afternoon and finished all the urgent work. My director looked surprised to see me. Ye Qinghe, what are you doing here today? I had nothing to do at home, so I figured I'd come in and get some work done, I answered calmly. Being dedicated is good, but you still need rest. Go home. Happy New Year. Thank you, Director. Happy New Year. I shut down my computer, grabbed my coat and bag, and left. The air outside was crisp and cold. I didn't rush home. I took an easy walk, and 2 blocks later I was at my new apartment. Close, convenient, and warm inside. I changed into comfortable clothes, made hot tea, curled up on the couch, and put on a random movie. My phone stayed quiet. I knew this wasn't over. Lu Chengyu wasn't the type to let things go. He'd find some way to come after me. Halfway through the movie, my second phone rang, the one I used only for family. Dad was calling. I picked up. Dad? His voice was steady. Lu Chengyu just called the house. My stomach tightened, but I wasn't surprised. What did he say? What do you think? First, he pretended to be worried because he couldn't reach you. I told him, she's fine. Then he demanded to know why you sold the house and ignored his calls like we owed him something. I could picture Lu Chengyu raging. Dad, you didn't get upset, did you? Why would I? I just found it ridiculous. Does he seriously not know what he's done? And he still has the nerve to question us? Dad paused, then continued. I told Lu Chengyu the apartment was your premarital property. You had every right to sell it. First, your marriage is over. Second, once the holiday ends, my lawyer will contact him directly about the divorce. Third, I told him never to call this house again. He isn't welcome here. Hearing my father speak so clearly and firmly made my eyes sting. I'd always thought of him as soft-spoken and easygoing. I never realized how unshakable he could be when he was protecting me. Dad, thank you. Silly girl, you don't thank your dad for that. His voice softened. He hasn't hurt you, has he? No, Dad, I'm okay. Good. Remember, no matter what happens, your mother and I are here. The sky isn't going to fall. After we hung up, I sat on the couch hugging my knees for a long time. Outside, the sky slowly darkened, and city lights flickered on one by one. Thousands of windows glowed, but not one of those lights was waiting for Lu Chengyu and his family. Meanwhile, gloom filled Lu Chengyu's parents' cramped old apartment. Li Yinglan sat on a tiny stool, crying and sniffling. What terrible luck. We brought a disaster into this family, and now she's ruined our home. Lu Nianen piled on. Exactly. Bro, did you hear the way her father talked to you? Same as her. That whole family is impossible. Lu Chengyu paced the tiny living room in silence. Calling Ye Qinghei's parents had been his last hope. He assumed older parents would want to save the marriage and talk her around. Instead, her father was firmer than stone and said a lawyer would contact him. The word lawyer made Lu Chengyu's stomach drop. He didn't understand much about the law, but he knew that once this became a legal matter, he had no leverage. The apartment was Ye Qinghei's premarital property, and the sale money was in her account. He had no claim to it. After 3 years of marriage, he could walk away with nothing. No, he couldn't accept that. After hitting wall after wall, his anger turned into something colder and more calculated. If force wouldn't work, he'd try pressure. If she was hiding from him, he'd go somewhere she couldn't avoid, her office. He pulled out his phone and searched for Ye Qinghei's company address. Tomorrow, he'd wait outside. He'd confront her in front of all her co-workers and embarrass her until she couldn't stand being there anymore. He thought it was a brilliant plan. Ye Qinghei cared about appearances, and he was sure public pressure would make her give in. A grim smile finally spread across his face. The next day was the third day of Lunar New Year. I went to work as usual. Hardly anyone was at the office yet. It was quiet. I needed that silence to think through every move ahead. I knew Chengyu Lu wouldn't let this go. After getting nowhere with my parents, the only place left for him to try was my company. I warned reception and security in advance, described what he looked like, and told them that if he came looking for me, they were not to let him in for any reason and had to notify me immediately. At 10 a.m., my desk phone rang. It was reception. Ms. Ye, there's a Mr. Lu downstairs asking for you. He says he's your husband. Got it. I replied calmly. Do exactly what I told you. I didn't go downstairs. I didn't even walk over to the window to look. I simply opened the office security system and pulled up the lobby feed. On screen, Chengyu's hair looked carefully styled, but it couldn't hide how exhausted and anxious he was. The receptionist stopped him outside the security gate. Sorry, sir. Without an appointment, you can't go upstairs. I'm her husband. I need an appointment to see my own wife. Chengyu raised his voice. Sorry, sir. That's company policy. Tell Qinghei Ye to come down. Tell her I'm waiting right here. The receptionist kept her professional smile. I've already notified her, but Ms. Ye says she's in a meeting and can't see visitors right now. In a meeting? Yeah, right. Chengyu finally lost patience and tried to force his way in. 2 security guards stepped forward immediately and restrained him from both sides. Sir, please calm down. Do not interfere with our workplace. Let go of me! Do you know who I am? Chengyu struggled while employees passing through the lobby looked over with curiosity and contempt. He looked like a clown putting on an ugly one-man show. I watched him on the screen without feeling a thing. He just looked like a stranger. This was the husband I'd loved for 3 years, the man I'd given 3 years of my youth to. So this was what he looked like once that polite, gentle mask came off. Pathetic. The guards were too strong for him to break free. They half pushed, half dragged him outside. Sir, if you keep harassing people here, we'll call the police, the guard warned him sharply. Chengyu stood on the steps outside the office building, clothes rumpled and breathing hard. He looked up at the glass tower. He knew I was somewhere inside. And I was watching him like he was a joke. A crushing sense of helplessness and humiliation swallowed him. For the first time, he realized he might truly have lost me forever, along with that home and all that money. He lost everything. He stood downstairs for a long time, going from anger to resentment to confusion. In the end, he left, looking like a defeated rooster. I turned off the security feed. The desk phone rang again. It was reception. He's gone, I smiled. Thanks for the trouble. No problem. But Miss Ye, judging by how he acted, I don't think he'll stop. Please be careful coming to and from work. The receptionist kindly warned me. I said, okay. I know. Thank you. I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes. Round one was mine, and I'd won easily. Every move Chung-Yu made was exactly what I'd expected. He was like a headless chicken. The more he charged around, the more he'd hurt himself. But I also knew desperate people could do reckless things. Once someone like him truly lost hope, he could do anything. I had to prepare for whatever crazier move came next. I took out my phone and messaged Sharan Chin. He came to the office and caused a scene. Security turned him away. Sharan replied instantly. Expected. Next, he may follow you or wait for you somewhere. Do you want to apply for a personal protection order? I stared at the words personal protection order, and my heart sank slightly. I never imagined things between Chung-Yu and me would one day require this kind of legal protection. Not yet. I'll watch a little longer. I don't want this to get uglier than it already is. Ching-Hei, it's already gone this far and you're still protecting his dignity. Remember, being kind to someone cruel can mean being cruel to yourself. I stared at the message in silence. Maybe Sharan was right. This fight was far from over. I needed to be tougher and more decisive. By the next day, news of Chung-Yu making a scene downstairs had spread through the entire company. When I walked into the office, I could clearly feel eyes following me from behind. A few coworkers were always whispering in the break room. The moment I walked in, they'd go silent and awkwardly scatter. I didn't care. I made coffee, answered emails, and joined meetings just like always. My calm only gave them more to gossip about. Look at her, she's acting like nothing happened. Her nerves are seriously strong. I heard her husband is pretty handsome. How did things get this bad? That afternoon, my director called me in again. This time, he looked serious. Sinkeye, the company normally stays out of employees' private lives, but what happened yesterday had a bad impact. I hope it never happens again. I nodded. Director, I promise there won't be a next time because very soon he won't be my husband anymore. My blunt answer caught him off guard. He clearly hadn't expected me to say it so directly. He waved a hand. All right. I understand. Get back to work. I returned to my desk and a WeChat message from Sharan popped up. How's work? You okay? I'm fine, just a small mess. I can handle it. Good. I just talked to some colleagues at the firm. What Chung-Yu did already qualifies as disturbing public order. If you want, we can ask the court for a protection order keeping him at least 100 meters away from you and your workplace. Wait a little longer. I want to see what else he tries. I'm not protecting his dignity. I'm collecting evidence. The more reckless he gets, the stronger my position becomes in court. I don't just want to win the divorce. I want him to face the legal consequences for everything he's done to me. Meanwhile, Chung-Yu sat on the creaky old sofa at his parents' home. Yingling Lei kept ranting in his ear. That crazy woman is heartless. We can't even get into her company. Is she trying to kill me? Bro, I asked our legal department today. Nian and Lu looked miserable too. They said sister-in-law's apartment is premarital property. We won't get a cent from the sale. Suing would be pointless. That news was the final straw for Chung-Yu. He jumped up and kicked the coffee table over. We get nothing? Why? His eyes were bloodshot. I was married to her for 3 years. I supported her for 3 years. She says divorce and it's divorce, says sell the house and it's sold. Since when does life work like that? Yingling wailed. Then what are we supposed to do? She hides from us, won't answer the phone, and her company won't let us in. What can we do? Chung-Yu paced the cramped living room, chest heaving. Every road seemed blocked. Ching-Yi sat above him like a chess player, watching coldly while he failed to escape her moves. The humiliation nearly drove him mad. Suddenly he stopped. A vicious idea flashed through his mind. He turned toward his family with a cold smile. Doesn't she care about appearances, her job, her reputation? If she won't let me live in peace, then she doesn't get peace either. Yingling and Nianen stopped crying and stared at him in confusion. Chung-Yu, what are you planning? Jianjun Lu sensed something was wrong. Chung-Yu didn't answer. He pulled out his phone and searched for a place online, my hometown, a small county he'd visited only once for our wedding. He was going after the family I cared about most. The next few days were unexpectedly quiet. Chung-Yu stopped coming to my office and stopped calling. Life seemed normal again, but I knew it was fake. A man like him wouldn't give up that easily, and the silence made me even more alert. Sharan warned me to be careful. This might be the calm before his next big move. I agreed. Life went on. I started looking at apartments and wanted a small place downtown, nothing huge, around 60 or 70 square meters, but in a good location with everything nearby. It would be a home that was completely mine, a fortress with my name on it. That weekend, I met Sharan for dinner at a newly opened Western restaurant. The place was nice. Decided which one you're buying? Sharan asked while cutting her steak. I've looked at a few, but I haven't decided. No rush. Take your time. You're a rich single woman with a serious pile of cash now. Plan carefully. I laughed. Yeah, my only problem now is figuring out how to spend it. We talked, drank red wine, and relaxed. Looking at the city lights outside, I felt like I'd stepped into another life. Just half a month earlier, I'd been a meek housewife sitting in an empty home, waiting for scraps of attention from my husband. Now I could sit here calmly planning the rest of my life. Freedom felt incredible. Seriously, Chinghae, once all this is over, what do you plan to do? Plans, I thought for a moment? Like, start another relationship? I shook my head. Not for now. I just want to work, live well, and love myself. Men only slow down my money-making speed. Sharan burst out laughing. Well said, come on, to independent women living life on their own terms. We clinked glasses and the red wine glittered like liquid gemstones under the lights. While Sharan and I were enjoying good food and friendship, Chungyu's whole family was crammed onto an old slow train headed for my hometown. The hard-seat carriage was stuffy, dirty, and deafening. Yinglin was motion sick and had vomited until her face turned pale. Xiaobao hated the conditions and cried nonstop. Nianan and her husband Hao Chen were squeezed into a corner, both looking furious. Bro, why did we have to come to this dump? Nianan complained. It's filthy and chaotic. You wouldn't even buy sleeper tickets. Shut up! Chungyu snapped irritably. This is all because Qinghe Ye ran off with our money. Yinglin weakly raised her head, eyes full of spite. Once we get to her hometown, we'll make a scene outside her parents' house and tell all her relatives and neighbors exactly what kind of woman she is. Exactly! Nianan suddenly perked up. We'll say she disrespects her in-laws, cheated with another man, and stole all the family money. Let's see how her parents show their faces after that. And we'll go make trouble at her parents' workplaces too, Yinglin added. Isn't her father some minor official who cares about face more than anything? We'll make a scene at his workplace and see how he deals with that. The family piled on idea after idea, getting more excited, as if they could already see my parents' lives thrown into chaos until we were forced to surrender. Chungyu listened without a word. He felt no guilt at all, only a twisted sense of satisfaction. Qinghe Ye, don't you care about your family? Don't you care about your reputation? I'll tear every piece of it apart and show you what happens when you fight me. The train rolled on, carrying that family's spite and madness straight toward my peaceful life. The storm hit when I least expected it. It was Monday during our weekly department meeting when my mom started calling over and over. She almost never called during work unless something was urgent. My heart sank and I excused myself from the meeting. I stepped outside the conference room and answered. Hello? Mom, what's wrong? On the other end, her voice trembled with tears and suppressed anger. Qinghe, Chengyu, and his whole family came to our home. My heart instantly dropped into ice. What did they do? My voice came out cold as ice. They're downstairs making a huge scene. My mother's voice was shaking. They have banners saying you're an unfilial daughter-in-law, that you're cheating and ran away with money. The whole neighborhood is downstairs watching. Your father, he's so angry his face has gone white. I could picture it. Chungyu's family acting like thugs in the residential compound where I'd grown up, twisting right into wrong while my decent, proud parents were publicly humiliated by neighbors. Chungyu had found my weak spot. Mom, don't be afraid. You and Dad stay upstairs. Do not go down, do not speak to them, and don't respond to anything they say. Lock the doors and windows and wait for me. Qinghe, what are you going to do? Don't come back. That's exactly what they're trying to force you to do. I know, I'm not going back, but I'll handle it. After I hung up, my hands and feet were ice cold, but my mind was perfectly clear. Anger wasn't enough to describe it. They had crossed my final line, and all I felt was cold, ruthless resolve. Chungyu Lu, you just erased the last tiny bit of pity I had left for you. I didn't return to the meeting. I grabbed my phone and car keys and walked straight out of the office. I didn't drive to my hometown. Going back would play right into their hands and make the scene worse. I needed to cut them off at the source. I called Sharan Kin. Sharan, they went to my hometown. They're holding banners and spreading lies about me. I explained the situation as briefly as possible. Sharan's voice came through the phone. That family has officially found a new low. I need you to do a few things for me right now. I laid out the plan calmly. First, file a lawsuit in my name immediately. Sue Chungyu Lu, Yinglin Li, and Nianan Lu for defamation. Second, use photos of their banners as evidence. If any neighbors recorded video, get copies. Third, find me a reliable private investigator. Investigate what? Chungyu. I want 3 years of financial records, hotel records, and chats. I don't believe he's as clean as he claims. Someone that's selfish doesn't stay loyal just for the family. He's hiding something. Sharan immediately understood. You want to give him a taste of his own medicine? My voice was completely cold. He loves destroying other people's reputations, right? Then I'll dig up every rotten thing he's done and bring it all into the light. He made my parents ashamed to show their faces in their own town. I'll make him infamous across this city and online too. Sharan was silent for a few seconds. Then she answered firmly, Got it. I'll handle the investigator now. Don't worry, one of my childhood friends does this professionally. Completely reliable. Okay, I hung up, got in my car, and hit the gas. I didn't go home or back to the office. I drove straight to Chungyu's parents' old apartment. He liked raiding my life, so I was about to turn the tables on his. His parents lived in an old complex built nearly 30 years ago, with worn stairs and electrical wires crawling over the walls. I parked outside instead of driving in. I knew this place. During our first year of marriage, I'd lived here for almost 6 months, and I knew the most powerful institution in this complex wasn't management. It was the group of retired aunties who appeared in the little garden every afternoon at 3. They knew every secret in the neighborhood and controlled the gossip. I walked straight to the garden. Sure enough, several aunties were sitting on stone benches, trimming vegetables and chatting. Their unofficial leader was Auntie Zhang, who lived across from Cheng Yu's family. She had the sharpest eyes and spotted me first. "Hey, isn't that Cheng Yu's wife?" Every head turned toward me. I stopped and gave them a tired, wounded smile. "Auntie Zhang, everyone, it's been a long time. Oh my, it really is Qing He Ye." Auntie Zhang stood up. She warmly took my hand. "You haven't been here in forever. How did you get so thin?" My eyes immediately turned red. I said nothing, only shook my head and gently pulled my hand back. Auntie Zhang instantly sensed something was wrong. "What's wrong, child? Did you and Cheng Yu have a fight?" "No, Auntie Zhang." I lowered my head. My voice caught slightly. "We're getting divorced." "What?" The news exploded through the little garden like a bomb. Every auntie crowded around. "What happened? Cheng Yu always looked like such an honest kid." "Exactly. Haven't you only been married 3 years?" I looked up. A perfectly timed tear slid down my cheek. "Aunties, did you know that for the past 3 New Years, his entire family traveled abroad while I stayed home alone to watch the house?" The women exchanged looks, then nodded. They knew that part. Yinglin had bragged often about how filial her son was for taking her overseas. I used to think they rejected me because I wasn't good enough. I thought if I kept enduring and giving in, one day they'd finally treat me like family. I was wrong. I pulled out my phone. I opened a photo showing the banners outside my parents' home. A neighbor from my hometown had just sent it to me. They went to my parents' house, hung banners, insulted me, and spread rumors that I stole their money. "Aunties, you tell me, is that fair? When I married Cheng Yu, the apartment we lived in was paid for entirely by my parents, and only my name was on the title. Is that their family's money? If I don't want this marriage anymore and sell my own apartment, does that mean I ran off with their money?" They spent my money enjoying themselves in Malaysia. Then they came back, found the apartment gone, and went to harass my parents in their 70s until my dad nearly had a heart attack. How is any of that reasonable? I didn't scream or accuse them dramatically, I just stated the facts. The auntie's expressions shifted from curiosity to anger. "That family is unbelievable." "Exactly. They spend the daughter's money and then bully her parents?" Yinglin always acts so respectable. Who knew she was like this behind closed doors? Auntie Zhang patted my hand, face red with anger. "Don't be afraid, child. We'll testify for you. That family is shameless. They brag all day about how much their son earns, yet can't even buy a home and still try to take advantage of you." "Thank you, Auntie Zhang. I came today to let everyone know that from now on, I have nothing to do with the Liu family. That way, if anything else happens with them, no one will mistakenly drag me into it." I bowed deeply to them and walked away. I knew that within half an hour, the latest story, how the Liu family betrayed their daughter-in-law and drove her parents to the hospital, would reach every corner of the complex. Their precious reputation mattered more than anything. I was about to help tear it to pieces myself. Back in my hometown, Cheng Yu's family had been waving their banners for almost the entire morning. At first, plenty of neighbors who didn't know the truth gathered to watch. Yinglin sat on the ground, slapping her thighs. She wailed, "This is so unfair. What did our Liu family ever do to deserve such a vicious daughter-in-law? She tricked us into going to Malaysia, secretly sold the apartment, and swallowed millions all by herself." Nianan piled on beside her, dramatically adding to my so-called crimes. Cheng Yu kept a grim face, playing the wounded husband betrayed by his wife. But their performance quickly started falling apart. Several longtime neighbors who were close to my parents were in the crowd. Uncle Wang pushed through. He shouted at Cheng Yu, "Young Liu, you say Qing He sold the apartment. Whose name was on the title? Tell the truth if you dare." Cheng Yu's face stiffened. Yinglin jumped up immediately. "Whose name? Once you're married, it's joint property. What right did she have to sell it alone?" "That's not what the law says." Uncle Lee, a retired judge, spoke firmly. "Premarital property belongs to the person who bought it. She sold her own apartment. That's perfectly legal. So what are you people doing here?" The crowd's looks toward Cheng Yu's family began to change. Just then, 2 police cars pulled into the compound with lights flashing. My father had called them. The lead officer barked, "Who's causing a public disturbance here?" He walked over to the banner and read what was written on it. Then he turned to Cheng Yu. "Did you put this up?" Yes, Cheng Yu reluctantly admitted it. "Do you have proof? If not, this is public defamation and that's illegal. Do you understand?" Cheng Yu had nothing to say. "And this behavior is seriously disrupting public order and damaging someone's reputation. Take the banner down and leave immediately, or we'll bring all of you in." Yinglin was stunned. She thought the police would take her side. Instead, they were warning her. We're the victims," she kept arguing. "Whether you're victims is for a court to decide. Hanging banners here solves nothing. Take it down, now." Chungyu and Hao Chen took down the banner in humiliation while the neighbors burst into laughter. They came all this way just to embarrass themselves. Exactly. They acted like they were so righteous. Turns out they were just here to make trouble. Chungyu's family went red, then pale. Just then, his phone rang. It was Auntie Zhang from across the hall. "Chungyu, come back quickly. Something big happened." Auntie Zhang sounded genuinely anxious. "What happened, Auntie Zhang?" "Jinghe came by earlier and told us everything. The apartment was hers, and you people went to her hometown to pressure her parents. The whole complex knows now. How is your mother supposed to show her face outside?" The call hit like lightning. Chungyu's carefully planned attack had not only failed, but I'd struck back at his own home. Both fronts collapsed. He had lost completely. Chungyu's family fled back to the city that night. This time, they even bought expensive high-speed rail tickets instead of hard seats. Nobody spoke the entire way. Yinglan stopped crying. She only stared blankly out the window, knowing that in the neighborhood where she'd lived for decades, her reputation was finished. Chungyu sat motionless like a statue, replaying Auntie Zhang's words. Every plan and advantage he'd counted on had collapsed. He realized he knew almost nothing about me. Back in the cold, damp old apartment, the whole family looked drained. "Bro, what do we do now?" Nianan's voice trembled with tears. "Divorce." Chungyu forced the word through clenched teeth. He knew he had no other choice. If he kept fighting, he'd only lose worse. His last hope was getting some of the 3 million plus yuan in the divorce. Even a few 100,000 would give him room to breathe. He was naive. He thought all I wanted was the divorce and the apartment. He didn't know I wanted him to answer for everything he'd done. A week later, Sharan called me. She could barely hide the excitement in her voice. "Qingyi, guess what I found?" "What?" "I was making myself a latte with my new coffee machine. Chungyu has another woman." My hand paused. I'd expected it, but hearing it out loud still stirred something inside me. And it's more than a simple affair. Starting 2 years ago, he began supporting a female college student, 5,000 yuan every month for living expenses, plus rent. My friend even got her photo. She's sweet-looking and actually resembles you a little. I carried my coffee to the window. The last trace of warmth I had for him disappeared. He found a younger stand-in who looked like me. "Chungyu Lu, you're pathetic and ridiculous," Sharan continued. "Here's the key part. He sent her money from an extra card in his own name, but purchase alerts for the main account went to his mother, Yinglin's phone." I froze. What does that mean? It means Yinglan knew from the beginning that her son was supporting another woman. Worse, she helped cover for him. Whenever a transfer alert came in, she'd invent an excuse, some new appliance, medicine for his father, whatever, and explain the expense to you. My mind exploded. I remembered all those times over the past 2 years when Yinglan suddenly said the fridge broke or something needed replacing. I never questioned it because the amounts didn't seem huge for our income. So all that money had gone to another woman, and his mother had been helping him hide it. Mother and son had teamed up and treated me like a complete fool. My hand holding the coffee started shaking uncontrollably. Hot coffee spilled onto my skin, but I barely felt it. The feeling was worse than betrayal and more humiliating than being lied to. It swallowed me whole. "Qinghe? Qinghe, are you still there?" Sharan asked anxiously over the phone. I took a deep breath. When I spoke again, my voice was frighteningly calm. "Organize everything into one file. The bank statements, transfers, her photo, and her address." "What are you planning to do? Drop it all in court?" "Court is too easy on them. Print 100 color copies. I want one sent to every department at Chungyu's company, and one slipped under every neighbor's door in his parents' apartment complex. And send copies to Yinglan's old friends and Nianan's co-workers too. He wanted to destroy my reputation? Then he can learn what it feels like to have his own secrets exposed everywhere." The next morning, I met Sharan. She looked even more excited than I was. She placed a thick craft paper envelope on the cafe table in front of me. "It's all here." I opened it. Inside were neat stacks of high-quality color printouts. The first page showed the college student's selfie, long hair, white dress, and features that really did resemble my younger self. Beneath the photo was her basic information. The next pages were packed with bank records. For 2 years, Chungyu had transferred 5,000 yuan to her account every month, marked living expenses. There were also occasional transfers of 1,314 and 520, romantic number amounts. Then came movie tickets, restaurant receipts, and even 2 booking confirmations for private hot spring hotels. The evidence was overwhelming. I turned the pages without expression, but inside I felt sick. While I'd been saving every cent for our home and hesitating over even buying new clothes, my husband had been using our shared money to give another woman a princess lifestyle. And his mother, my mother-in-law, knew all of it and even helped cover for him. They had teamed up to drain me while I trusted them. Sharan said, "There are 120 copies. 30 will be anonymously delivered to every co-worker in Chungyu's department at noon today. 50 are already arranged to be slipped under doors and into mailboxes throughout his parents' complex tonight. 30 go to the kindergarten where Nianan works tomorrow so every teacher sees them. The last 10 are backups." Her plan was even more thorough than I'd imagined. Thank you, Sharan. I meant it. No need to thank me. I'm just worried you'll soften. Qinghe, once this starts, there's no going back. I looked up at her. Why would I go back? When they stood under my parents' home with banners and spread the ugliest lies about me, did they leave me a way back? When his mother helped him lie to my face for 2 years, did either of them care what that would do to me? I'm not going soft. I just want to see them face the consequences. My tone was calm, but Sharan knew how determined I was. She nodded and stopped trying to talk me out of it. All right, the packages go out at noon. By tomorrow, the show begins. I resealed the envelope and handed it back to her. Do it. That afternoon, I didn't return to the office. Instead, I went to see the little apartment I'd already chosen. I signed the contract and paid in full on the spot. Standing in the empty, unfinished unit with sunlight pouring through the windows, I held the contract to a home that was entirely mine. My new life was rising just as theirs was about to fall apart. Chengyu had spent the last 2 days under enormous pressure. Yinglan barely dared leave home because neighbors pointed and whispered. Nianan went to work under strange looks from co-workers. Everyone blamed Chengyu. He'd decided to divorce and contacted a lawyer who told him he had almost no chance of winning. The best outcome was an uncontested divorce where he walked away with nothing. Still, he dreamed that if he acted pitiful enough, I might give him a few 100,000 yuan. When he walked into work, he knew immediately something was wrong. Every coworker looked at him with a mix of disgust, contempt, and mockery. His stomach dropped. At his desk sat an unsigned yellow envelope. The moment he opened it, his mind went blank. The girl's photo, every transfer, the hot spring hotel bookings. Secrets he'd thought were perfectly hidden were now laid out in the most humiliating way possible. His hands shook and cold sweat soaked his back. Looking around, he realized almost every coworker's desk had the same envelope. Some were already reading, pointing at him and laughing under their breath. Oh my God, so the affair was real. And he was financially supporting a college girl? Wow, he really knows how to play. Look at these transfers. His mom was helping him hide it. This whole family is unbelievable. No wonder his wife sold the apartment and filed for divorce. I'd leave too. Their gossip cut into his ears like knives. He tried gathering the papers, but his hands shook so badly they scattered across the floor. As he crouched to pick them up, his manager's call came through. The voice was ice cold. Chengyu Lu, come to my office. He walked in stiffly and saw the same packet on his manager's desk. The manager didn't even ask him to sit. The company received a lot of material about your private life today. The manager's tone dripped with sarcasm. Quite a read. Chengyu tried to explain, but no words came out. Don't bother explaining. We don't control your private life, but your behavior has seriously damaged the company's reputation and workplace atmosphere. HR will speak with you. Go complete your termination paperwork. This company has no place for someone like you. He was fired. Chengyu barely remembered leaving the manager's office. Under everyone's stare, he lowered his head and packed his things. Then his phone began ringing nonstop. It was Yinglan. The moment he answered, she was sobbing hysterically. Chengyu, disaster. Every door in our building has your photo and those papers stuffed into it. I can't live like this. I can't show my face anymore. Then Nianan called. Bro, what did you do? All the parents at the kindergarten are furious. The principal told me not to come back tomorrow. I lost my job because of you. One thing after another. Work, family, relatives. Everything he'd built collapsed in a single hour. Carrying a cardboard box out of the office into the harsh sunlight, he felt no warmth. He had lost. Qinghe never screamed or fought with him, yet his whole life had fallen apart. 3 days later, Chengyu called me from an unfamiliar number. I knew it was him, and I answered. I'm downstairs at your new place. His voice was hoarse and dry with exhaustion. I heard you got a new job and bought a new place. Qinghe, yeah, impressive. There was no anger left in his voice, only a dead, exhausted calm. Let's meet. Just once more, he said. I thought for a moment. Come up. Sharan had warned me not to meet him alone, but I knew he had no strength left to do anything. I needed one final goodbye to close this chapter for good. A few minutes later, the doorbell rang. I barely recognized Chengyu. He'd lost a lot of weight, his eyes were sunken, and his face was covered in stubble. He stepped inside but stayed awkwardly by the entryway, looking around my small, beautiful home. He knew none of it had anything to do with him anymore. Sit, I pointed to the sofa. He shook his head. No need. We stood several meters apart. I got fired, he said first. He said it like he was talking about someone else. My mom barely leaves home because the neighbors point and whisper. My sister lost her kindergarten job, and her husband wants a divorce because he's ashamed of our family. My dad had a brain hemorrhage 2 nights ago. He's still in the hospital. He kept watching me, clearly hoping to see sympathy or guilt. He found neither. My face stayed blank. I asked calmly, Is that why you came? What do you want me to say? That I went too far? He finally looked up. His eyes were bloodshot. Qinghe, I admit I was wrong. I shouldn't have cheated, lied to you, or gone after your family. I'm sorry. Can we please not divorce? I don't want the money or the apartment. I want nothing. I just want you back. Can we start over? He sounded so sincere, his eyes turned red. A month earlier, I might have softened. Now I only found it ridiculous. Start over? I laughed. Chungyu, do you think everyone is as shameless as you? Did you forget how you and your mother spent my money supporting that college girl? How you left me alone every New Year for 3 years? How you pointed at me and called me unreasonable? Did you forget hanging banners outside my parents' home and spreading rumors that I cheated? With every sentence, his face grew paler. My parents treated you like their own son, and you repaid them by humiliating them in front of every neighbor. I treated your family like mine, and you repaid me by treating me like a fool you could lie to and sacrifice whenever it suited you. Chungyu, I didn't ruin your life. You did. You always said family should stick together, right? Now one of you is unemployed, one is getting divorced, and one is in the hospital. Looks like you're all still together after all. My words stripped away his last bit of pride. He staggered backward against the wall, face white as paper, mouth open but unable to speak. My lawyer already sent you the divorce agreement. I picked up a copy from the coffee table and tossed it at his feet. Sign it. It's the last thing we ever need to do together. Once you sign, we're done. From then on, we owe each other nothing. He stared at the divorce agreement for a long time. Finally, he bent down and picked it up with shaking hands. Fine. Then he turned and walked out like a ghost. The door closed behind him. I didn't move. I knew our story was finally over. The first thing I did after Chungyu left was call Sharan. He came by. Are you okay? He didn't hurt you, did he? Sharan immediately sounded nervous. I'm fine, he's gone. I looked out the window. He has nothing left in him. Sharan was quiet for a moment, then sighed. After everything you hit him with, even someone made of steel would be finished. Now we just wait for his signature. Don't worry, I'm watching it. After we hung up, I filled the tub with hot water, essential oils, and bath salts. I closed my eyes and, for once, didn't picture Chungyu or his family. I thought about decorating my new home. My life could finally revolve around me. 2 days later, Sharan placed a document in front of me. It was the divorce agreement. On the last page were 3 characters, Chungyu Lu. He didn't ask for anything. Sharan said, he agreed to walk away with nothing. He had no choice. His lawyer said he looked completely numb when he signed, then left without saying a word. I picked up the agreement and looked at his name. I expected some thrill of revenge, but felt only peace, like the ground beneath me was finally clean. Sharan and I went to the Civil Affairs office and finished the paperwork. When the clerk handed me the dark green divorce certificate, I exhaled. The 3-year nightmare was legally over. Outside the Civil Affairs office, the sun was bright. I looked at the divorce certificate, then tucked it deep inside my bag. At the same time, in a cheap rental on the north side of the city, Chungyu got a call from Yinglan. Chungyu, the hospital is asking for your father's medical fees again. Yinglan sounded old and exhausted. How much more? 30,000 wen. Chungyu, do you have any money left? Chungyu stared at his bank balance. Less than 3 digits. He'd been fired with no compensation. What little savings he had were already gone on his father's hospital deposit and helping Nianan deal with her husband. Mom, I'll think of something. He hung up and stared blankly at the stained ceiling. Think of something? What was left to think of? His life had already been written, and there was no changing it now. Time passed quickly. My new home was finished and aired out for 3 months, and I finally moved in. I also changed jobs, becoming a marketing manager at a foreign company with a much higher salary. My new coworkers were kind, the atmosphere was great, and I finally left my old social circle and all its gossip behind. Across the city, Chungyu's family was falling apart. Jianjun was left partially paralyzed after his stroke and needed constant care. Yinglan couldn't manage alone and lost all her old arrogance, spending her days crying and seeming to age overnight. Nianan eventually divorced. Her child went to the father. Jobless and out of the family home, she survived on odd jobs. Chungyu searched for work for a long time, but his reputation followed him. In the end, the only work he could find was driving for a ride-hailing app. My own life became busy, full, and orderly. Sometimes I still heard that Chungyu's family was struggling, but I felt nothing. Those people and that story already felt like news from another lifetime. Sharan called me. Hey, gorgeous. Free this weekend? A friend just came back from overseas and is throwing a party. Plenty of attractive people. I laughed. We'll see. I didn't say yes or no. My heart was open, and my future was full of possibilities. I could go or stay home. I could meet someone new or keep enjoying the peace of being alone. Having my life completely in my own hands made me feel safer than anything else. I took a sip of red wine and remembered marrying Chungyu 3 years ago. Back then, I thought marriage was where I belonged. Later, I learned no person is your destination. You are. Once you become strong and whole, you no longer need anyone else to prove your worth. That old door was closed. Ahead of me were sunlight and the whole world.